Here we go again. This is Volleyball Explained podcast about the Italian league. Nicola, Ronnie, I am Bogdan. Then we are going to talk 1 month later after the last podcast about the Italian league. Today we are going to do it a little bit differently. Almost any time we are starting with the battle for the top places, but this time it wouldn't be in that way because actually the relegation battle, the battle to avoid relegation at the moment is even more interesting. But before talking about that, let's start with the ranking. Perugia is leading comfortably with 55 points, then Lube 45 and Trento 45, but Lube have played 2 matches less. Modena with 41, so the third place, of course, also in contention. Milano 34, Monza 31, Piacenza going a little bit back from what we have expected with 28, and then started the most interesting part, at least for now. The 8th place is Taranto with 23, Cisterna has 22, Vibo 22, Padova 21 and Verona 21. On the last place, Ravenna with 2 points and no victory so far, so they will be relegated for sure. But 5 teams from Taranto to Verona from 23 points to 21. One of them will be in the playoffs, one of them will be relegated and playing in Serie A2 in the next season. Before I give the floor to Nicola and Ronnie, what is the schedule for the matches of those 5 teams until the end of the season? So who will be relegated is the question. Taranto has 3 very tough matches with Lube and Modena as a host and with Milano as a guest. Only 3 matches. 4 matches for Cisterna. Perugia as a host, Trento as a guest, Padova as a guest, and Piacenza as a host. Vibo Valentia, 4 matches. Lube as a host, Modena as a guest, Ravenna as a guest, and Trento as a host. Padova, 3 matches left only. Milano as a host, Vibo as a host, and Modena as a guest. And Verona, 4 matches. Lube as a host, Ravenna as a guest, Piacenza as a guest, and Monza as a host. What do you think? Who will be relegated and who will play in the playoffs?
That's the 1 million question, because the scenario keeps changing basically every game day. Who had expected Taranto beating Piacenza and Vivo Valencia beating Monza in the last 2 matches? I think no one. We could expect maybe Vibo to snatch some points in Monza, but Taranto winning 3 against Piacenza was unpredictable, in my opinion, by almost everybody. I think that looking at the schedule, Taranto could get all the points at this level, because I don't think it could end it with the 23 they already have, because Lube Modena at home and Milano away, it's a very, very tough schedule, considering that probably Modena will still fighting for the 3rd place and Milano for the 5th, so they will play with everything they got. Cisterna and Verona, they have the jolly to play, because they still to play Ravenna, and probably those are 3 points almost for sure. Padova will have Milano at home, Vibo at home, and Modena away. It's also very tough schedule. I honestly don't know what to think about Vibo Valencia, because they racked up a lot of points in the past.
Nicola, sorry to interrupt, but Vibo have Ravenna, not Cisterna.
Vibo already played with Ravenna 2 game days ago.
Vibo have Perugia, Trentino, Padova, and I think that's the key match.
That's the other way around. I changed. I switched it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I switched it. Sorry about it. Yeah, I switched it. Vibo will play Perugia, Trento, Padova, and Piacenza, and Cisterna. Yeah. That's my mistake. Sorry.
So Piacenza, Vibo could win 2 of these games as well as lose everyone at every game. But with that connection that they're building, especially the Brazilians with Saita and the Nishida, who is having a very good month lately, they could probably also get to the playoff. So it's difficult. The most in danger, in my opinion, is Padova. But when it comes down to the 8th place, I honestly don't know which team to pick.
I think Verona will avoid the relegation simply because they have to play Ravenna, and they need those 3 points, even if they lose, or I mean, they will end the lose normally in normal circumstances, the other games with better teams, more stronger teams. And for me, for avoiding the relegation, the battle will be between Valentia, of course, and Padova. That day 13th of March, as you can see, Valentia only have that game specifically to at least try to win, because the other rivals are too much to handle. And yeah, it will be tough, because when we started to predict how the league will run for this season, we never put Padova in that specifically spot, either Valentia, but it has been such maybe you, but it has been such a disappointing campaign for the Tuna boys than with Nishida and especially Douglas Sousa leaving the team, and now they have to make or try to make a crucial comeback. I don't think they will make it to the playoff, but at least they can save his spot for the next season, and hopefully learn from his mistake of not hiring people basing only in social media numbers. So as for Padova, well, it's a shame, but at the same time, they have missing around, especially at the middle of the season, losing game after games, and now the situation is come to this point. And again, I think that game will be crucial for any of those teams, because Padova versus Milano and Modena especially, I think they doesn't have any chance, although everything is possible, but I think that game with Vibo, and Vibo, of course, that game versus Padova will decide who will go home. And now I want to congratulate the Verona team. I know the Bulgarian fans are really excited to see what's next with this thing of development kind of team. And let's see where is Rokmosik headed after this season. Will be very interesting. See the path of this young player that, alongside with Micheleto and Marlon Jan, is one of the gems, at least rising star. So yeah, that's my conclusion. Day 13th of March, save the date, Padova versus Vivo Valentia. That will be the key, at least for now.
Yeah, I see several key matches, because, for example, Modena will play with 3 of those 5 teams. Trento will play with 2 of them, and Lube will play also with 3 of them. So there are a lot of matches from these 5 teams against favorites, and some of them are. It actually doesn't matter if they are guests or hosts, because just the difference in class is very big. But I believe that there will be 3, probably 4 matches which will be decisive for the relegation battle. For sure, the 2 matches of Cisterna and Verona against Ravenna, and of course the Padova Vibo match. It's hard to believe that Taranto will take something from Lube, Modena, and Milano, and especially Milano as a guest. But who knows after they beat Piacenza 3-0? So it will be extremely interesting. And for example, Vibo playing against Piacenza as a host is also a match I don't think is that sure, because Vibo are in progress. Vibo is playing better with Nishida back. Also, they took Christian Fromm, the German international, so they're playing better and better. Actually, they have 4 wins in the last 6 matches, and they were almost surely, not that surely, but very near to relegation, and now they are even in the fight for the playoffs. So it will be very interesting, and I won't be that surprised if Vibo gets the playoff spot. I hope that Padova and Verona will not be relegated, of course, but yeah, it will be very hard for Padova, and their matches against Milano and Vibo will be decisive, because I don't think they can get a point even in Modena. Yeah.
Taranto team just might save the season with that victory over Piacenza, because now they are not only in playoff situation, that it might change, of course, but they separate a lot from the relegation teams, at least 2 points or something. And that well, even if they lose the 3 matches, the other team have to win at least 1, and maybe it will not be enough to send Taranto to the relegation. Maybe one of those key matches, like I don't know, Verona beating Piacenza maybe could change the situation for them, but it's really hard to predict right now, because I know that Piacenza will try to learn from their mistakes, even if the players are not in good terms with Bernardi, which is always a controversial coach. He had problem in Turkey with players, in Perugia, but well, who coach doesn't have problem with Circe management and so yes, and now, for a reason that I don't know, he doesn't want to use Aaron Russell, and I think this is I know the guy is coming from an injury, but come on, the dude have experience. He make a good career in Trentino, before that in Perugia. So why you putting now this guy on the bench? I mean you need to him to recover from his injury, and now allow him to play is not the correct procedure. So I don't know. This thing of Piacenza has it started so well. You remember the beginning of the league, beating everyone, and now it's like not even fighting for the 5th place anymore. So yeah, and the next season they want to create a super team, and you know what happened with super teams? You have 1 year and the next one are gone, or well, maybe the Modena example, they can learn from that. So yeah, let's continue.
Yeah.
3 things. First of all, we don't have to forget that the first tiebreaker, in case of more teams get to the same amount of points, is the amount of victories. So right now, Taranto has just 7 victories, while Padova has 8, Verona has 8, Cisterna and Vibo Valencia has 7 as well as Taranto, which means that if every team of the one following Taranto will win at least 1 game, it doesn't matter if it's a tiebreak or not, they will reach Taranto, and they will be above them because of the number of victories. The second thing is that there's a factor that we shouldn't underestimate, that the Italian government restored the 60% of capacity in the hall, in the sports hall and sports arena, which means that in some dispassionate place like Vibo Valencia, the crowd could have an impact. And now it's different to try to go to Modena and snatch a point in front of 3,000 people instead of, I don't know, 2 months ago where there were just a bunch of supporters. The third thing you were saying, Ronnie, about Russell, it's even more incredible if you think that Bernardi also coached Russell in Perugia when they won the Scudetto 3 years ago. So you should know him pretty well. Russell actually was the MVP 2 games ago against, I don't remember exactly, the last victory of Piacenza. They beat Padova 3-0. And Russell was the MVP for the league at the end of the day. Then they awarded it to Rossard, but it has the best game of the season. So I also hope that he will recover, because he's a tremendous player and even a better person. So I hope he will have his time and his games to show that he's still worthy.
Yep. Do you want to mention something about top half? For example, I would like just to add very few things. Firstly, a very important thing is that Perugia is very stable. They're playing great. They're not always showing that much, but just enough to win comfortably. For example, they lost in their last match a set against Padova, but nothing more. They won 3-1. Modena is a very interesting thing to comment, because they have a lot of up and downs. Actually, most of the time these up and downs are in a single match, but they are losing easy sets against opponents they could have easily won against. Then winning very good fashion against sets against teams like Perugia, but then just losing the match as in their last match against Perugia as a host 2-3. But it's very interesting, this tendency in the Modena team. Something that is not that important for the topic we talked about, because Grosser is back from Monza, which makes Monza another team from what they are without Grosser, just because of the fact they don't have a decent substitutions for the opposite position. And probably the last thing I want to mention is just as a news that there are COVID cases in Lube again. Just 1-2 months ago it was the same thing, and now there are matches against Cisterna, I believe, and Verona have been postponed. So that's it. I don't think we need to do that much in detail, as in principle it's a pretty clear thing in the top half of the table.
Well, as you mentioned, the Modena team has been a truly roller coaster this season. You know, when everyone thought that they could snatch the first place from Perugia, who was also the other big team, you know, in terms of strength and talent. Maybe Lube were left for the third place, and well, it's been a completely different situation for this team that doesn't manage to completely take off, and now they have this situation. They have to win every single game and see if Trentino is capable of losing, or like I should say, shoot in their own foot, but I don't think that will be the case, and we will have potentially a Perugia Modena semifinal for the playoff, and Lube Trentino. and this is something that Lube want to try to get, especially not in the last match, in the prior match versus Modena. I think that will be the decider for any of those teams if they want to at least try to get the third spot for Modena. But as I mentioned before, Trentino is doing pretty well, at least for now. I don't care what happened in Champions League. I know, and they knew that even with the strong, with the full squad, it was the Perugia team already got the first place. So I think there is no need to play that game, particularly in Champions League with the full roster, and they give time to recover some players from injuries or something about it. Rest the best player. Now let's see what happened with Lavia. Why he's in? I was reading he didn't play last match, or what happened with him?
Yeah, because he had flu symptoms, but a negative test. So the fast one. So they decided not to risk him, and there were no further news from Trento. So probably it was just a precaution that they didn't want to risk to play a player that could potentially spread COVID. That's it.
Yes, because out of those matches of Champions League, and that they lose versus Modena at home and with Lube 3-2, they have been pretty well. They lose a game versus Verona. You remember back in 21, that game Sbertoli was it wasn't the game of Sbertoli. Sbertoli was with Padova.
No. It was that game. Sbertoli just played the first set and some rallies from the second, and then Sperotto played against Verona. Yeah.
Taking off those games, Trentino has been really doing nice in the Superlega, at least, even when our friend Nicola was also pessimistic as usual. You have to try at least what is the word? Try to have some confidence on your team, because they are young and they show their potential in Eurovolley, at least the half of the squad. And I think the next year, if they manage to hire a decent opposite, let's not say a superstar, but a decent, maybe they can do some damage. I don't know if the intention is to keep Matei.
2 years contract for Matei, I believe.
2 years, well.
Yeah.
I really don't like that Lavia, with such a talent in his game, play a position that doesn't fit too well for him. But it is what it is. Matei has experience, and they need him in the position 4. But I was discussing with a Cuban friend, discussing the chance of Osniel Melgarejo, one of the Cuban national team players, going to Italy next year. And he asked me, as a joke, is Melgarejo is better than Daniel Lavia? I said, look, first of all, who is Melgarejo right now? A player that play in French league that nobody knows, only the Cubans. Lavia is already is 21, 22 years old. Is a 2 meters tall player. He played for one of the best organizations. Yeah, but most part of the time he only make 50% of efficiency in the attack. Yes, because he plays as an opposite, and he is not an opposite. So
in a European champion.
Of course, now I know the potential of my country man, but he can be better, not right now, maybe in the future or maybe never. But right now, Lavia is one of the most wanted players in Italian league, not only because he is Italian, because he know how to play so well. And this is a fact that put Italian national team in the next year in a big spot if they manage to find a good position too after CEV, and keep that mentality, focus oriented play style, and yeah, because only with Micheletto it's hard, but you have Lavia, and you have not. But let's not forget that guy in Cisterna, Rinaldi, that I hope he can step in future years. So yeah, that's all. I think Milano. So sorry, the four top spots will be, of course, Perugia, Civitanova, Trentino, and Modena. I don't think at this point Modena will have enough in the time to reach third place, but everything can happen.
Well, Trento still have to play Piacenza as a and to play. Yeah, but looking at the strength of opponent, the strength of schedule, as the Americans say, they have to play Piacenza, they have to play Milano, they will play Cisterna, and they will play Vibo. I think that Modena to try to get the third place, Trento has to lose 2 games because I don't see Modena gaining 3 points against Lube. I think that Lube at home will probably has the upper end against.
It will not be a easy match. I think that will be decided in tie-break, that Lube versus Modena game. I don't know, but
yeah. But Lube right now it is recovering basically everyone, because we don't have to forget that for most of the season Lube played without Wantorenio, without Zaitsev, with the middle blockers that basically only Simon was sure to start, and then the other were injuries or stuff like that. Diamantini has to play probably the most of the games in his career during Lube years to cover Anzani's injuries. And I think that Lube is going a little bit under the radar, but when it comes to playoff, it's probably the second favorite after Perugia. And if Perugia will go to sleep too early in the league, Lube has still 2 games less than Perugia. So potentially there will be 4 points ahead, 4 points behind Perugia, and then there's Lube Perugia in the last game. If Lube will win every game from 3 and Perugia will lose some game, but I think that's Fanta Volley at this point. But who knows? For the third place, I'm not so sure that Trent will keep it, but it would be incredible. The summer, and especially after the volley market, some analysts here in Italy, they say they will fight for a playoff spot. That's what they say about Trento. So right now, having done third, and they played against Padova yesterday without production without Lavia. They played Cavuto as a middle blocker for 3 games because the 2 Serbians were injured, and they still somehow managed to win those games. I don't think they will go farther than the semifinal because there are better teams. But if they reach the third place, then Modena had to reach the final to take away a Champions League spot for Trento, because in Italy the Champions League spot are for the team who wins the Coppa Italia, for the team who wins the Scudetto, and the teams that in the final of the Scudetto. Usually 2 of these spots are already taken, so they get to the third ranked team during the regular season. That's why it's so important to qualify.
If Modena keeps this expensive team for the next season, because rumors are in the air that Emir has plans to get out of there and go to Russia, to St. Petersburg, because Poletaev is a prone injury player, always in his entire career has been that kid that never take off, always injured. So that will be a huge movement for this Modena team. Leal already admitted in an interview that he has 2 more years with the organization. I don't know Ngapet, because Ngapet is like a tornado. You don't know where he's gonna end and what he will say. So yeah, and Bruno, I mean he doesn't have any chance, because he cannot go back to Brazil, because there is no team for him. So even the setter of Sada Cruzeiro, which for me is a very overrated player, will go to Monza. So this is a move that I really am happy, because now Lopez will have to play with a real setter, which is Nico Uriarte, who was in French league. And I'm sorry for Monza, but you know what they say, first year is for free. The first year is what people want to see, and they want to see if you are good. And I think that it will happen the same thing that Nishida and Douglas. They thought that they were good players, at least decent, and no, nothing. So yeah.
Well,
Modena,
actually, Nishida is not playing that bad lately. Yeah,
come on, man.
getting back from the calf injury.
You remember that match with Lube Civitanova? I mean, I know it's Lube. I know it was Vibo Valencia, but come on. I think it was 15% of efficiency.
13% of fishes. Yeah, okay. But in the other games is actually the most dependable weapon for Vibo.
Let's say that those games that you are mentioned, those are the ones that Vivo Valencia needed, or at least should win in order to keep in the competition. And of course, he has delivered at least. But in the real, when the real game comes, Nishida, well, and Bogdan knows that he is not that super strong opposite that everyone thinks he is. So that's why and all those channels keep putting big titles like the day of Nishida become this and that, the day that Revelon Simon, the day that Simon become a Nishida fan, and such idiot title. So, but yeah, it's all part of the marketing. So, yes, yeah. I hope for the Trentino that they manage to keep the second place, and in order to do that, they have to not lose, which you mentioned it will be very hard, but maybe Lube can help with that, beating Modena, so not letting them to get close, and let's see what happens at the end.
Okay, guys, let's make the break here, and after the break we're going
Champions League,
and we're back, and we continue with the draw for the quarterfinals in the first men's Champions League. So the Italian teams won't play one against each other. Zenit St. Petersburg will play against Perugia. Trento will play against Berlin Recycling Volley. Lube will play Jazjewski Węgiel, and Zaksa, the reigning champion in the Champions League, will play Dynamo Moscow. What are your expectations?
Nicola, please help me with this.
Well, there were people joking here in Trento that is basically the same path of the last year for Trento. Berlin in the quarterfinal. If they win, Perugia in the semifinal, and they could get Zaksa in the final. I would be happy with them getting through Berlin and being in the semifinal. But I was hoping not to get an Italian team in the semifinal, because both Perugia and Lube are better than Trento, and on 2 games they will win. Maybe on a single game there could be a surprise, but I think that for me the clear favorite of the competition is Perugia, and it has been since the beginning of the season, and they will deliver this year. So we will see Sirchi going around and celebrating all year long. On the other side of the bracket, actually, I don't know who could be the finalist, because Zaxa didn't play too well for a couple of weeks, but then they went to Civitanova and won the game. And the fact this year is that Lube losing that single game was enough to put them in the second tier of during the draw, because the other 4 group winners were has won every game they played. So it's difficult to predict the other side of the bracket, in my opinion. I hope it will be Lube, because it would be fun to have a Perugia-Lube final in the Champions League. It's probably the only final that Lube-Perugia hasn't played yet against each other, and we'll see.
You know, Nicola, you have, I mean, you are used to the term, subliminal term, warm balls or bolas calientes. You know, that is a term that was popular, especially in UEFA draws. You know, that always put teams like Real Madrid and, you know, usually big teams versus shitty teams. Sorry for the word, but it's very strange for me that always, especially in the women, Bakif Bank and Conegliano never meet in the semifinal. You know, the paths are always opposite. You know, they only will meet in the final. And also, the best 2 teams in the Champions League this year, that for me has been Perugia and then Lube Civitanova. You know, there has been some years that people want to see finally that Perugia versus Lube in a final of Champions League. I think, like you mentioned, this year Perugia is a better, much stronger team, more complete, with almost any weaknesses. But you know, I think maybe not in the league, because it's the best of 5 matches, but in a single match final, everything can happen, my boy, you know. So
yeah,
I don't know if Perugia have Wilfredo, a Cuban, and they have Anderson, okay, Janelli. But, you know, when there is only one chance, one match, and the winner take it all, well, you know what happened when the year before that Simon, Leal, and Bruno get to Civitanova, Juan Torena and Sokolov was close to win the Champions League in Kazan, you know, and for a miraculous serve shooting, first Butko and then Leon, they didn't want it. So everything can happen, you know. Perugia, yes, is the main favorite. I think they will pass St. Petersburg, and even with Kliuka, that team, that Russian team, didn't show anything at all, especially losing 2 games at home versus a team like Berlin, that even when they have a good diagonal system with Grand King and Patch, come on, the rest of the team are, you know, it players, maybe Danani, which I keep saying this in my Spanish podcast. Why the hell Danani is not playing in Trentino? No, that's a libero that Trentino must have, even in, and not Senger. You know that, you know, for me that's the worst player in Trentino lineup this year. Senger, the libero, he can do nothing basically. So in the second quarterfinal, Trentino, Berlin, you know, easy. Maybe Berlin will try to make a move in home, but beside that, 3-1, 3-0, even a 3-2 in home, and then Trentino win 3-0 in Pal Trento. The third one, and for me, will be a interesting match. Wiggle, we don't know if Boyer will be able to play. He has been injured almost the entire season. No, maybe the middle of the season to this point. And Lube will have back finally Osmani Juantorena, or at least they want to have him back. So I don't know who is gonna bench Marlon Jan or Lucarelli. Maybe it will be Marlon Jan because Lucarelli have a more higher salary, because from the play aspect, he and Marlon are like this, at the same level this year for me. So yes, of course the last one, Saxa versus Dinamo. The other quarterfinal that will be very equal, especially if Sokolov can recover from his physical problems. Maybe we can see a Dinamo beating Saxa. Why not? Yeah, but beside that, and I know, and Bogdan knows that the favorites are Lube and Perugia to play the final this year.
Yeah, I won't repeat that much, Ronnie, because for me also, of course, Perugia is the favorite in the whole tournament, and Trento will beat Berlin, but the third and the fourth quarterfinals are for sure the more interesting one, and I also believe that Lube and Jaszewski will make a very good matchup. And I wouldn't also underestimate Dinamo as, of course, champions of Russia. I believe that they could match Zaksa, and probably they can win. I haven't watched a match from the Russian league in the last months. I haven't watched including Dinamo, but from what I watched during the last season and some matches in the beginning of this season, I believe that they will be able to win against Zaksa if Zaksa is not playing in the best possible way. Okay, let's have a look also in the women's quarterfinals, because we're going to have an Italian derby match there between the teams of Monza and Conegliano. That wasn't a derby match probably last season, but this season is a different thing because Conegliano is playing not in the best possible way, at least so far. And actually Monza beat them as a guest 3-1 in the championship. So they swapped wins during the regular season. And there will be another Russian derby between Dynamo Kazan and Dynamo Moscow. And the other quarterfinals will be Rzeszów against Vakivbank and Lokomotiv Kaliningrad against Fenerbahce. So probably the Turkish teams will be ahead, but of course, especially in the second of those, the Fenerbahce match is not that sure as in the case of Vakivbank.
Well, let's not hate too much women volleyball, but the truth is that they are unbalanced. You have diversity in male volleyball. Maybe Saxa can do another surprise like last year, but in women volleyball, there is no surprises. And I think even with all the problems that Conegliano has having in the league, especially after the long streak winning path, they will be victorious, and it will be the same history from the last 2 years. Vakivbank versus Conegliano, and that's for me, it's not so funny anymore, because at least in men you have been doing like 3 different finals. Maybe Lube has been in 2 of them, or 1, in 2009, 2018, But next year will be changed because Lube will not be so strong anymore. So, but with those two teams in women, that they will be every single year in the top places of their respectively leagues. Egonu maybe will go to Bank next season, and they will trade like Isabel Hack to Conegliano, which for me no one lose because Egonu is not invincible, and she proved that in the last World Championship Club. But as for the Russian teams, maybe Kazan can win it all. Samantha Bricio and Fabris can deliver that win. Now, my concern is the next one. During the political tensions in Europe and such, maybe those Russian teams cannot, can't allow it to travel to Europe, and maybe it will be played in a neutral soil. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe sports have nothing to do with politics, but we are talking here about imminent war, maybe not, and that can change everything. There are 3 teams in women right now in Champions League and 2 in men. So I don't know what's going to happen. Perugia has to play one Russian team, and St. Petersburg is not in the heart of Russia. It's in the Baltic, but being Russia territory, maybe that can bring some things to take into consideration before we are taking about that match. So maybe we will know in the next week.
Yeah, of course, we all hope that this is not going to happen. This political crisis and tension will be much calmer next week, next days, we hope. But of course, the signs are not in a positive way for now. But because you mentioned that, let's share some news here, because today the Polish Minister of Sports declared that if sanctions are imposed on Russia in this Russian-Ukrainian crisis, and actually European crisis, I believe, and if not a world crisis at the moment, and so if sanctions are imposed on Russia, and because of the fact that Russia should host the World Championship 2022 this year, Poland is ready to take it over and be host of the World Championship 2022. So it's very negative. It's very sad thing when politics are involved in sports, but unfortunately this is always the case, and probably it couldn't be different. So we hope that things will not develop in this way, but unfortunately, it's very probable to be.
I put a comment on there saying that if the World Championship maintains and Russia keep as a host, maybe the NATO country members will not travel to that specifically country. I'm talking about Canada, USA, France. I don't know if Italy is member of the NATO community.
Yeah, of course.
All those countries will not travel. I'm sure, because with all the sanctions that they are putting on Russia, for me will be very difficult to see those countries sending their sportsmen and women. Maybe not women, because even if they organize some sports tournament like tennis or wrestling, it will be very hard to see any kind of events in the next month in Russia. So till the tensions get lower. So I think that I don't know if Poland have the capacity to organize such a event in a short period of time. I mean, they are like less than 8 months to the World Championship, and I know they have the arenas and all of that, but you know they have to rent them, or organize all the you know, the logos, the show, to keep the quality, you know, of this event that after the Olympics is the most important in international volleyball right now. So I don't know. I think Russia will not, for me, will not be the host of this World Championship, and not because they are as award, it's because the other countries will not send their players to that environment, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, let's hope that this is not going to be the case, and politics will be a little bit aside of volleyball. But yeah, we all know that this is a very difficult thing to be done. Okay, I believe that that's quite enough for today's podcast. Thank you for your sharing your expertise. Of course, the next podcast, I would say that we can do it before the last round of the Italian Super League. So we will comment probably again about the 8th place and the relegation battle. Also, the Italian Cup will be done. It is in the weekend of 5th and 6th of March. So we are going to have the Italian Cup winner for 2022 also. Yeah, and probably the first matches from the quarterfinals in the Champions League also will be played, would have been played then. So that's from today. If you like that podcast, like it, share it, subscribe to Volleyball Explained, subscribe also to Cuban Spike, the channel of Ronnie, and in Facebook and Twitter to Pilole di Volley and the work of Nicola, which is also great. Thank you again for watching or listening, and I hope you're going to do it also the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.